Damage prevention is an exchange of information. Any exchange of information relies on effective communication. The better the communication, the better the information. As an industry, we do and always have spent a lot of time promoting the message to call before you dig. Call 811. This message was not received in Iowa in 2012. One of the things we looked at in Digging Dangers 23 were the two Iowa pipeline accidents, 2 days apart in the same state, and in both accidents there was not a call to the state's one-call center. We can look at the effectiveness of our efforts to try to prevent damage like this and say, hey, in Iowa it didn't work. 2 different contractors installing field tile on opposite sides of the state, 2 days apart, both struck gas lines. Would more call 811 messages have worked in Iowa, a state with a history of deadly drainage tile accidents? Probably not. If the memory of these tiling accidents in Iowa won't change behavior, more 811 messages won't do the trick either. Now, a generation later, 30-some years later, we're still hitting pipelines in Iowa without having the state's one-call center contacted before the excavation activity began. As an industry, we will prevent damages or we won't. But what about the things that can happen after a damage? Should we be spending more time on a call 911 message? You know, the message that any one-call center, any gas utility, any utility for that matter, needs to put out to excavators. If you hit a gas line and there's a leak, your responsibility as an excavator is to call 911. And no matter how well we think we are transmitting our message, how much time do we spend on checking how our message is being received? Now, we set up rules for damage prevention. State laws are written in such a way to try to really minimize, ideally eliminate ambiguity. But a lot of people were left homeless from this explosion, and it certainly was a situation that did not need to occur. A lot of work can be done under a joint meet where there's no documentation about where the work is going to go on or when it's going to take place. Well, something went haywire, and where the gas pipe was struck by the missile under the road, there were no marks. How did that happen? I don't know. Was there a language barrier in West Havershaw? Was there a good exchange of information? What one state has done is taken joint meets out of the equation. Not that you can't call a joint meet ticket, because what a perfect way to set up a joint meet is through a one-call notification. But what can't happen is any locating based upon that joint meet. After the joint meet, the excavator then is required to call in a ticket. And the reason for this is, by calling in a ticket, you have to put an extent, a geographic area where you're going to dig. The man who was operating equipment to put in the sprinkler system, once he realized he hit the gas line, he looked at one of the locate flags for the gas line and called the number on the flag. The placing of paint and flags is an exchange of information. The excavator in Topeka is trained to contact the gas company but is placed on hold for 17 minutes when he calls the number on a flag, the number of the contract locating company. Was it neglect on the part of the gas company having a non-emergency number placed on flags, a number that doesn't go to the gas company but rather to the gas company's contract locating company? I don't know. A lot of companies do this, but you got to think now, would it make more sense to have an emergency number on those flags? In this case, it certainly would have made more sense. What is the purpose of placing the contract locating company's number on a locate flag? Does it assist excavators by having this number on the flag? It might. Anytime something is done in the name of damage prevention, one should ask, will this directly reduce the number of damages? And if the answer is no, you have to ask yourself, why is it being done?